folks, it's your boy Caleb and welcome to my channel, Prodigy Kids. My goals make learning fun and interesting because knowledge is power. It is great to be back, and as always, we have a great interview lined up for you. Today, we have a real-life living legend in the house. He's a businessman, community leader, teacher, and has been a mentor to thousands of kids over the course of his professional life. Before we get into today's interview, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your notifications. Mr. Tony Thomas was born on April 16, 1952 in Columbia, South Carolina. After graduating from C.A. Johnson High School in 1970, Mr. Thomas ended his education at South Carolina State College, which is now known as South Carolina State University. A talented swimmer, Mr. Thomas was a walk-on athlete and received a full athletic scholarship for swimming and diving. While on the team, Mr. Thomas led all 4 years and qualified for the NCAA Diving Championship in 1971 and 72. Mr. Thomas, who was also a seasoned martial artist and competitive fighter, became one of the co-founders of the South Carolina State Bulldog Karate Club. After graduating from South Carolina State, Mr. Thomas held several positions as a lifeguard, swim instructor, and assistant director. He served as the aquatics program at Benedict College from 1992 to 1995. Mr. Thomas and his wife Brenda have been the successful owners of Tony Thomas Favorite Karate School for over 25 years. They have taught thousands of students, promoting over 300 students to their black belt levels. Mr. Thomas has received several accolades over the span of his career. He has been enshrined into the South Carolina Black Belt Hall of Fame, the South Carolina State University Athletic Hall of Fame, and the South Carolina State University Physical Education Hall of Fame. He has been the recipient of several proclamations and resolutions. His local county council proclaimed March 23rd as Mr. Tony Thomas Day. The South Carolina State Senate presented a resolution honoring Mr. Thomas. He received key to the city of Columbia, South Carolina, and the South Carolina General Assembly presented a resolution honoring Mr. Thomas and members of the South Carolina Black Belt Hall of Fame. Without further ado, please give a warm Prodigy Kids welcome to Mr. Thomas. Thank you for being with us today. So how does it feel to be our featured guest?
Well, it feels great. I want to thank you for inviting me to come on your network, Mr. Caleb.
What is it like being a living legend?
Well, you know, I don't think it's something you set out to become, but if you live your life in such a way and do things to the best of your ability, then a lot of things just happen to come toward you because of what you've done in the past. And had the opportunity, a great opportunity to teach thousands of students. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of about 25 to 30,000 students over my 39 years. I've taught on all levels, kindergarten through elementary, middle, and high school, and had an opportunity to teach 3 years on the college level. So, I think that I've had a great opportunity to inspire a lot of people, a lot of my students over the years. And you, sir, are one of those people that I've had the great opportunity to work with.
I learned some interesting things about you in your biography. I've been your karate student for several years, but I did not know you were such an accomplished swimmer and diver. Tell our audience how you became involved in martial arts and swimming. Did you seek out these opportunities or did someone introduce you to them?
Well, when I was younger, we had an opportunity to, during the summers, there was a swimming pool that was open, a Drew Pool. And it was a place that during the summer we had an opportunity to go. It was really about the only times we could go swimming. We didn't have indoor pools. We only had outdoor pools. And the only times we could go was during the summer. That's the only time that they were open. So we would go down to Drew Pool and swim during the summers. I was fascinated while I was there, seeing, you know, all of the people, all of the lifeguards, especially. That was, you know, who inspired me to really get involved in swimming on a larger scale. And I started swimming, and then when I was in middle school, when I was in high school, 11th grade, they built Greenview Park, which was, you know, I lived in the Greenview community. I was raised there. And when they built Greenview Park, I could walk to the pool during the summers. So I stayed in the water every day, and every day, all day, and started swimming. Eventually, as I became a better swimmer, the lifeguards pushed me in the direction of becoming a lifeguard, which I got certified and became a lifeguard. That was able to start working, you know, at an earlier age. When I was in high school, was one of my first jobs. Okay, and that's how I got involved in swimming. When I graduated from high school and went to South Carolina State, I didn't know that they had a swim team. But when I found out, I said, well, you know, that was one of the things that I would be interested in. And we got in contact with the swim coach down there my freshman year. He told me to come out, try out. And if I did well, then he would, you know, look at some finances for me. My first year, I trained with him the first semester in college. And then the second semester was when the competition season started. And as that year, I placed in our conference number 2 on the 1 meter and number 2 on the 3 meter diving board. I became a diver down at State. I was not a great diver until I went there. Had the great pleasure of having some divers who were returning divers at South Carolina State who worked with me, helped me to develop my skills. And from that point on, it was just a great opportunity that I had, that I took advantage of. Well, let me tell you a little bit about how I started martial arts, Caleb. When I was in 8th grade, there was a TV show that came on television called, this was back in 1966. There was a TV show that came on called The Green Hornet. And one of the people, actors on The Green Hornet, his name was Bruce Lee. On the TV show, he was Kato, but his real name was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee became one of probably the most well-known martial artists in the world. So I got interested in it because of Bruce Lee. So I started practicing. I would stay home every Friday. The show came on Friday nights. I would stay home every Friday, watch him, and then I would imitate everything that he did during that time. And I would practice for an hour to 2 hours a day. After I finished my homework and things like that, that was my method of one of the things that I did for my recreation was practice what I saw him do on television. And I practiced it until I could do it just like him with the same speed and power. I eventually got involved in a martial arts school. When I got to South Carolina State College, one of my friends came downstairs and told me, said, there's a guy practicing martial arts upstairs. So I went up, we met, and we decided, he was a brown belt in karate. I was a brown belt at the time. And we decided to go down to Duke's Gym, which was the gymnasium on campus on South Carolina State College at that time, campus. So we would work out. And a lot of the students on campus would come in to watch us practice, to watch us work out together. And they asked us if we would consider opening up or starting a class. So we opened a class. We eventually got it sanctioned on campus. And we started what was now called at that time, the Bulldog Karate Club. And from that karate club, we taught probably around 400 or 400 plus students during the 4 years that I was at South Carolina State. We started going to tournaments. We were winning, bringing home trophies, and we had the opportunity to fight on a large scale with a lot of the top name fighters in the region.
After graduating from college, did you continue to compete in martial arts competitions?
Yes, I did. When I graduated, because we competed while I was at state, I started that club. We took a lot of our students to a lot of the different tournaments that was going on in the state of South Carolina and Georgia. We traveled South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, and we competed. When I graduated, I started teaching in the public school. I became a physical education teacher, but on the weekends, I was always practicing martial arts, but on the weekends, I would go, find the different tournaments that was going on, within South Carolina, and I would travel to those tournaments. I had the opportunity when I was at state, Caleb, to in 1973, I took a group to Charleston, South Carolina. And while we were in Charleston, we went to a tournament, and I was an unknown fighter at that time. No, I was not ranked, I was unknown, but they were the top fighters in the nation there. One, Jeff Smith, another one was Bill Wallace. Bill Wallace was known as Bill Superfoot Wallace. His picture is at my school right now. I had the opportunity to, I fought, when we went to tournaments, the tournaments were divided into different weight classes, and I fought super lightweight. And at that particular tournament, I fought and won all of my fights. I won the super lightweight division, and for all the other divisions, you had lightweight, super lightweight, lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. And in each division, whoever won their divisions, then they would fight. Then all of the champions for each division would fight for what was called the Grand Championship. And I had the opportunity. I won my division, and I fought against Bill Wallace. I had to fight the middleweight champion. And at that time, I didn't know who Bill Wallace was. He was unknown to me. Later I found out that he was the #1 point fighter in the country, in the United States. Was undefeated. And I fought Bill Wallace that day in November of 1973. And in tournament fighting, you would fight to 3 points. The first person to win 3 points wins the match. And we ended up, and we had a 3-minute match. At the end of 3 minutes, if it was tied, then you would go into overtime. So it was tied up. He and I tied up 2-2 in overtime. And when we started the overtime match, then I hit him with a side kick, but my foot was out of bounds. I scored the point, but they took the point away because I stepped out of bounds when I hit him. They gave him the point. He won the match, but he told me that I really won that fight. And from that point on, everybody knew who Tony Thomas was.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for being our guest today. We hope to have you back again. Tell the Prodigy Kids Nation how they can connect with you and learn more about Tony Thomas Family Karate. Are you currently accepting students?
Yes, we are. And if anyone would like to get in contact with us, they could Google Tony Thomas Family Karate or just Google karate and we will pop up. They can give us a call at 754-2333 to get information. And we would love to have anyone any parent who would like to bring their child to our school. We start students off 4 years old and up, and we take them from where they are and help them to develop the skills that they need to develop to become black belts and what we call black belt excellence.
Would you like to give a shout out to anyone before we sign off? Don't forget Miss Thomas.
Yes, but I do want to give a shout out to Miss Thomas. Shout out to Mr. McFadden, who's one of our instructors, Mr. Merriman, Miss Danielle, and Mr. Naya. And we're always looking for more instructors. So maybe one day, Mr. Caleb, we're going to be calling on you to come in and start doing a little teaching as well.
If you enjoyed today's interview, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your notifications. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and rise up. Bye!